Namasabhayai Aibhoho. It is indeed a great pleasure, honor, and a privilege to be here today in the historic Vishwa Vaidika Vijnana Sammelanam that is being organized by the Sri Venkateswara Vedic University. I am a physician by profession, but I am from a traditional Vedic family. So I have my perceptions regarding our roots, values, samskaras and tradition, which I respect very much. The topic I have chosen, can I have the next slide please? Next slide, yeah. The topic I have chosen to talk about today is regarding medicine in Shrimad Valmiki Ramayanam, a few insights. Most of us are familiar with Ramayana as mythology, Ramayana as folklore, Ramayana as a tale, but I personally regard Ramayana is history. We are fortunate compared with people from other parts of the world to have a long history, much more ancient than what many others can imagine. So, I would like to focus on a few aspects of the Ramayana from the starting with the Yuddha Kanda. In the Yuddha Kanda, Sarga 74, there is a occurrence where in the battle with Indrajit, both Rama and Lakshmana are knocked out unconscious. So, in the forefront of the battle, as both Rama and Lakshmana have been knocked out, the Vanara Veeras and the other prominent people, Sugriva, Neela, Angada and Jambavanta, they were stuck. They did not know what to do. So, at that point in time, next slide, the elders discussed and it was suggested that Hanuman was the person who was capable of traveling far away at a very remarkable speed to the Himalayas and procure certain medicinal plants. Next slide. The location of these herbs on a mountain has been described in detail. There was a publication by Balasubramanian in 2009 identifying this to be geologically which mountain and all. But the point of interest to me is I am a physician. So, what was the point of interest? Next slide. So, a splendid mountain covered with medicinal herbs is what is indicated to Hanuman, and he is asked to bring, next slide, the certain herbs like Mrita Sanjeevani. The Mrita Sanjeevani is supposed to restore life of the dead. The Vaishalya Karani, which is capable of healing physical wounds inflicted by weapons. The Suvarna Karani, which restores the complexion of the individual even after physical injury, as well as the Sandhani. All the herbs are supposed to be there. Then, in the stress or whatever it is, when Hanuman reaches there, next slide, he finds a plethora of verbs, of the herbs there has been some research into what constitutes these life-saving herbs. The information is not yet conclusive, but there have been several theories postulated with the binomial nomenclature of the various medicinal plants, the families which they belong to, and the possible beneficial effects of these. This is not conclusive research yet, but it is a tantalizing opening into looking at our own roots. We do not yet know what these plants are they still there at that geological location and all. But it is indeed heartening to see that research is going on in this direction to facilitate identification of these rare life-saving medicinal plants. What I feel is the need for the barriers in research to be broken. Today, like a multinational corporate office, we work in our own cubicles. I am in the medical cubicle, somebody is in botany cubicle, somebody is in geology cubicle, somebody is in Sanskrit cubicle, somebody is in Veda cubicle. Unfortunately, individually, we can accomplish nothing because the knowledge in the Veda or our traditional scriptures is not in the realm of a Sanskrit illiterate common man of usual materialistic science. The point is we need a handshake. The idea of bringing this topic into the purview of the scholars who have gathered here is we need to look into our own roots objectively in a systematic fashion, ensuring the 3 R's of research: reliability, repeatability, reproducibility, so that what has till now been casually looked at as some folk tale or mythology can actually emerge as cutting edge science. This is the need of the hour. So the work is still ongoing. Can we bring a dead person to life? Today, yes, it is not possible. But absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. At this point in time, we are unaware does not mean the future won't behold such possibility. The work is going on. Next slide. If we look at a little ahead in the Sarga 74, there is a further description of Sushena, the physician. There is a physician in Ramayana also who took care of the sick, the injured, the ailing, the diseased, the infirm, and the fallen ones with care and compassion across the boundaries. There is a mention here that the inhaling the fragrance of the herbs, there is a term given here. We all know we take tablets by mouth, capsule by mouth, injection in the arm or on the buttock. We take injection into the vein. We also use inhalers. We also use inhalation therapy. Is it that there was some technology or there is a potential for some technology which is there? Somewhere we lost the link. I don't know. One hand, it is a polarized view to say that everything is there in Ramayana, everything is there in Veda. But it is also equally foolish to say there is nothing there. The truth is somewhere in the middle. It is the need of the hour for a handshake to occur, to combine the wisdom of our traditional scriptures, literature and other things with the perspectives of the various sciences, be it mathematics, physics, astronomy, medicine or even surgery for the benefit of the humankind. Ultimately what we need is benefit for the humankind. Next slide. A little ahead, after the Indrajit Vadha, Lakshmana is mortally hurt with numerous shastras, the weapons piercing him, and then Rama again, the compassionate king he is. Rama is the embodiment of Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Even in the battlefield, his first priority is to care for his subjects, care for his warriors. He requests Sushena to treat Lakshmana in such a way that Lakshmana, who is loved by the friends, pained by the arrows which are pierced, will be relieved. It is something more than that. Next slide. Spoken by Rama in that manner, Sushena gave a supreme medication to Lakshmana again through his nose. This nasal administration, there is research going on today for administering insulin through the nose in the inhalation route. Everyone who takes insulin for diabetes, I am sure quite a few of you are here, how painful it is every time to poke an injection if it were delivered through some other route. So again there is a mention of the inhalation route where Sushena administers the medicine and Saumitri recovers. Next slide. And see what he says. Saumitri freed from the arrows, that is physical relief from whatever caused the disease. Relieved from pain, the suffering is reduced, anguish gone, the mind component, worry, dukkham is reduced and naturally restored. He is brought back to the state of health before he became ill and he was happy. What is the definition of health? Health, as per the World Health Organization, is a state of physical, mental, emotional, and if I may add, spiritual well-being. If this is not restoration of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, what is health? In the time of Ramayana, that is the noble perspective of the physician Sushena. Why I am reinforcing this thought is, we have in the present era lot of diseases, some glamorous, some not so glamorous. We have a lot of, in fact a lot more laboratory tests and imaging. So what are we treating? Are we treating the reports? Are we treating the X-ray ECG? Are we treating the disease? Where is the person who is suffering with all this? Ultimately, the goal of medicine is Praninam Artinashanam. Rantideva's very famous prayer. We are forgetting the patient, but the whole focus is to reverse the test, reverse the abnormality, reverse the disease. But what about the patient? So the treatment should be for the rogi. Yes, the rogam has to be treated. The same rogam within a certain policy framework of treatment is treated. But different people, different persons, different age groups, different other associated conditions, one should individualize, personalize the treatment rather than saying blindly one size fits all. So there is a great lesson for us from Ramayana. The nobility of Rama to ensure the health of his subjects, even in the war. Even in the war, the great king Chakravarti Sri Ramachandramurti ensured the health of all his fallen soldiers. Health is the responsibility of the Raja or the administration. One day, I hope such a situation will arise in our country also, where everybody will be having the opportunity to be healthy, to be functional and productive. So this component, the Yuddha Kanda of Ramayana has been, as a physician, emotionally elevating to me. We were a lucky generation where our elders insisted that everybody should read or should listen to a explanation of original Ramayanam in Sanskritam. You should learn Sanskritam to the extent you should read the original. Don't read somebody's version, somebody's interpretation, but read the Moolam. In research, that's what I tell my postgraduate students who do their research work with me. They say that somebody told like this, then show me what he told. You read that somebody told like this in somebody else's paper, that is secondary data. Without going through the full text of the paper, reading only the summary or the abstract or the conclusions. If you jump to conclusions, it is often wrong. In a different forum, in a different pedestal, in a different context, when I talk about research, I show examples of medical literature, show them an abstract, what do you understand? People say something, actually it is something else is written in the paper. Moola Shodhana is required, especially if we have to extend the benefit from our traditional scriptures to the current real world scenario. In my subject of medicine, we need a handshake. We are very fortunate to have our Vice Chancellor, Professor Rani Sadasivamurthy sir, who is always open-minded, who is also a phenomenal researcher. We deliberate, dissect, discuss, and we even go into the depths of analysis on such topics whenever opportunity is given to us. So, this is one vignette from the Yuddha Kanda with regard to certain medical aspects of Ramayana. In addition to the medical aspect, there is a inbuilt dharma, how a king should take care of the health of the subjects, the roots of administration of medicine, and so on. Next slide. I will also like to throw some light on some of the medical conditions that pop up when you read Ramayana. The first and foremost thing which struck me as a medical student, because by the time I had joined the undergraduate medical course, I was compelled, my grandfather pinched my ear and told, look, you have to read. Without reading Ramayana and Mahabharata and Bhagavatam in the Samskrita Moolam, how can you claim yourself to be a scholar? So there was a background system built in. So the first thought which came when we were studying obstetrics and gynecology was male infertility. Dasarada probably is a classic example of maybe one of the earliest cases of male infertility. And also the end of Dasarada, as Rama departs for the Aranyas, Dasarada is unable to tolerate the grief and he drops dead. So apart from, we know bones are broken. We are very familiar, we were riding a bike at 200 kilometers per hour in our Vedic University, beautiful roads where the speed limit is 20 kilometers per hour. It is very common. From here they come to us with broken bones and broken head. But broken heart is not well known. You know heart attack, part of the heart dying and all, but heart breaking is not, heart breaking news is a simile used in literature, but it's a medical condition. This is I feel in terms of modern cardiology thinking, cardiomyopathy. It is a condition called stress-induced cardiomyopathy, wherein literally the heart breaks. So this is another condition which fascinated me. So we need to look into more. Is it simply a figure of speech, or is it a medical malady which was documented? We need to peruse into it in more detail. Next slide. Then we have the classic case of Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna is probably a subject of hypothalamic obesity. He also has obstructive sleep apnea syndrome. Many of us, is very common. One very senior police officer had come to me a couple of years ago, maybe at that time. This disease was not widely known in India. One of the first publications on this topic came from our group. So that man's problem was, sir, whenever there is a meeting, I fall asleep. I said, even I fall asleep in meeting. I go there and it was a good half-hour sleep. But then he said, no, sir, my superiors are they're catching me, and they said, you are not listening. When I am sitting and seeing my most interesting one-day cricket match last over, even then I fall asleep. So excessive daytime sleeping and tendency to fall asleep. We did a sleep study and we showed that this person had obstructive sleep apnea. We gave a device for him which is called CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure. He uses it in the night when he sleeps, and after that he became so widely well known and famous. I would not reveal the name for ethical reasons. So Kumbhakarna, in addition to hypothalamic obesity, he is probably a victim of obstructive sleep apnea. Then you look at Viradha. Viradha is a giant who was supposed to be immune to the arrows. Arrows won't cause pain to him. Is it a sensory neuropathy? Acromegaly, peripheral sensory neuropathies, secondary to secondary diabetes, and that is why he doesn't feel the pain. Person with sensory neuropathy due to leprosy, they won't feel pain. Even if the limb will get burnt, they don't notice. Diabetes, sensory neuropathy, no pain is felt. You have ulcers in the leg, they won't heal because you keep on walking, you don't feel the pain, irritation keeps going on. So it is another fascinating aspect. Each character, if you look carefully, there is something to look from a medical angle. Next slide. There is the story of Mandhata, anecdote of Mandhata. Mandhata, who was fed milk by Lord Indra and experienced an accelerated growth. Due to this, within 12 days, he looked like a 12-year-old boy with a height of 13 cubits. This looks like precocious puberty. And this type of examples are many more. However, today we are in the Indian standard time, not the Indian stretchable time. I am not a Mahikasura. I am talking about asuras, but I am not a Mahikasura. I don't want to get adherent to this mic. So there are a lot of fascinating aspects of science, technology, medicine, engineering, etc. in the Ramayana. It is our profound duty not to lose it. And ventures, efforts and innovations like this Vishwa Vaidika Vijnana Sammelanam are the need of the hour for incorporating the Indian knowledge systems into the milieu and the environment of the modern world, whatever you call it. Next slide. So, he by whom it is not thought out has the thought of it. He by whom it is thought out knows it not. It is unknown to the discernment of those who discern of it. By those who seek not to discern of it, it is discerned. Kena Upanishad. I conclude my presentation here. I once again thank the kindness, munificence and the extraordinary gesture of Professor Rani Sadasivamurthy Garu for giving me, I am not in the traditional sense, a Vedic scholar practicing that line. I am in the Laukya Prapancham as a Bhishagvara. So I feel very happy to share a few glimpses of my thought. The idea is to stimulate the thought process in such a way that this is taken forward for the future generations to explore, to reveal, and to bring into light the aunatya or the vastness and greatness of our Vedic Sanatana Dharma. Namo Namaha. Swasti.